Well, this is the first time I've done something like this in the dark.
Well, that sounds kinky.
There's no lights. So what's happened to the lights?
It doesn't really matter. People can't see us. They
I
just
can't
listen.
see what I'm reading. Right then, on the show today then, waking up from the biggest illusion in the world. Are we living in an illusion? Human organ simulators and a name which dates back to the 1930s, Otto Warburg. He is considered as one of the 20th century's leading biochemists. He investigated metabolism of tumors and of the respiration of cells. Cancer feeds constantly from our bodies. He came up with all sorts of weird and wonderful facts about cancer. And although he actually was considered one of the century's leading biochemists, he felt that he was frustrated because of the lack of interest in his ideas. Why would people be disinterested in someone who's so well respected? Is this maybe something to do with a ploy to stop him spilling the beans or spoiling the party, as it were?
It sounds more like it than anything else.
The reason I brought this up today is because I was talking to a couple of people who work in the pharmaceutical industry this week, and I did ask, I believe there's a cure for cancer. I believe there's quite a few cures for cancer. They kind of shied away from answering that question, but they did say, well, you know, the pharmaceutical industry has put billions and billions of pounds into research, and surely they want to recoup a lot of that back. So I would take that as maybe, yeah, there are cures, but you're not getting them until we get some money back. I'm talking. Is there such a word as ethics these days?
The word definitely exists, but the meaning and people caring about it, I don't really think that it exists.
Really? People dying of cancer and there's cures, and well, I'm sorry, until we make some money back of all that money we've spent, then we're not going to help you. Terrible.
Humans have to die for humanity to thrive. Individual humans don't really matter to corporations because corporations are not humans.
Humans just don't they don't care about anybody, not just organs. They just don't care about anybody but themselves, do they?
Of course, because a corporation or an entity of that sort is keen on one thing, survival. And that survival is regardless of any cost.
It's a massive industry, isn't it? I mean, there's a lot of money thrown about in that industry.
It should be. I'm not a medical expert, but I can understand what I read, or I'd like to think that. That's why seeing all this poor lifestyle choices leading people to this kind of fate, and once they're gone bad, they want to rectify things externally without eliminating the source of the problem. This is actually the whole illusion in itself, because thinking cosmetically we can change anything, because if it looks good, it should be good.
If it looks good, we don't need to change it.
And if it looks good, according to what? What is that good definition? Where does it come from?
We all have different degrees of what looks good and what is not good. So I
agree
with you there.
It all revolves around one concept of good, and that is what the culture or what the world makes you think it is. And this comes from conditioning. This comes from social coding.
Certainly. I just thought I wanted to get that one off my chest. There's one which I got that from you as well. I got this one from you on Facebook. Human organ simulators. Unbelievable. A translucent microchip with slender tubes that actually breathes like a human lung.
This is
creating humans.
Not creating humans. This is just replacing what works in itself by mimicking the use of it.
Okay. How is this going to be used, do you think? Do you think this is going to be used for the right reasons? Can we maybe take someone's kidney out, put a new chip in, which will take the place of the kidney? Or is this going to be used for maybe different purposes?
The first reason that you told is the only reason. Replacing an organ. And that organ has to fail first.
In a human being.
And many organ terrorists, what are they called?
I like that.
I don't know what they're called. Hijacking organs.
We're going to call them organ terrorists. I like it.
People who are after your organs.
Yeah.
What the?
Pirates.
Organ pirating. Well, it's better to have, a chip that can be replaced rather than having someone killed for his kidneys or her kidneys.
Yeah, certainly. Absolutely certainly.
This is the only reason that this replacing organs industry exists. Replacing organs.
Right. Now this...
there is no right or wrong reason for this.
Well, I'm talking about sort of AI, robots, Is this going to be used to... but we're going to get to that in a second.
Everything else is serving that purpose. Right. That agenda, transhuman agenda, is behind all this medical development that
Certainly.
we certainly are benefiting from.
You know, the most amazing thing is that this, they say, it's a rubber-like polymer and biological human cells, which actually runs on a fluid that mimics blood. A fluid they've developed that mimics blood. Wow. And it's a lung. It works the lung. Well, unbelievable.
It's not that unbelievable
It is to
because
me.
what do lungs do?
Lungs breathe.
That's it. What is
But without the blood, nothing would work, would it?
Of course not, because blood is the information capacitor.
Yeah, mhm.
And that level of communication between organs and your brain, if the brain is what runs the whole show. Nerves and blood, nothing else. And because it provides information and energy, oxygenating organs and stuff, if you take out the organ itself,
Yeah.
the function has to stay. What is that function? To breathe. And how do you mimic breathing? By putting in oxygen and giving out carbon dioxide.
Okay. So this is the doing of Harvard's Weiss Institute for Biology Inspired Engineering. It's one of several human organs they've actually simulated, and they've actually 4 of these organs they've actually joined together and had them working just constantly for 2 weeks. So this is so innovative. This is so, to think, you know, to think even in my lifetime, you know, we would never have believed at one point, you know, once our organs don't work anymore, we could replace them. We've come a long way in such a short time.
They have produced a leaf fully synthetic
Yeah.
that can photosynthesize. This has been done in the last year or two. Replacing an organ with a chip is not that new, I think. They did produce
Yeah.
lungs out of nothing but
synthetic lungs. Yeah,
synthetic DNAs,
Mhm.
and they formed it into organs in laboratory tubes, whatnot. And this is nothing new. This is not making me look at it in awe and say, "Oh, we've come a long way," or "They've come a long way." It just makes me think, why are we doing this?
Well, that was one of my questions initially. Why? You know, is it for the good of mankind, or is it just for?
Of course it is
for the
for the
good of man's pocket.
It's good for the mankind in any way. If an organ is replaced and you live longer, it's
sure,
good.
yeah.
And if someone is making money off of it, it's good. If your loved ones get to spend more time with you, it's good.
Do you know,
if
but-
your employer gets to get some more money
More
out
work
of you,
yeah, sure.
it's good.
Yeah. But you know, the thing is, as is with everything like this, the people who get
The treatment.
who can get the treatment, who can get the best treatment, it costs money. So most of society can't afford to have something like this replaced.
Of course not. That's the bottom line of all medical industry, isn't it? If you don't have a but fairly expensive insurance policy,
You've got no chance.
you have no chance.
You're going to die, mate, and that's it.
And the whole hospital industry, not medical, but hospital industry, that's something else, because it's just like hotels with less hospitality, but more hospital in them. And the whole system of medical industry is nothing but insurance companies picking up prices,
yeah.
and you pay them
Well,
to pay less.
Like I said before, the answer I got from a lot of these pharmaceutical guys were, well, you know, the medical industry or pharmaceutical industries have put a lot of cash into this, and sure, they want a return on it. So
Cashing in on
people's misfortunes.
the investment. What is the investment? The fall of men.
Yeah.
They're not trying to cure anything, in my understanding of things. They're just trying to sell stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if they weren't going to get a return on that, I mean, it's like we talk about Google and Facebook getting involved in this type of stuff. You know, why? The only reason they're doing it is for money. As you mentioned the other week, where is their connection with the medical industry? Yet they're fighting. Amazon and Google are fighting tooth and nail to be there first.
If we lived 400 years, each of us, and we live a happy, healthy life,
Yeah.
we don't need any pharmaceutical enhancement. How are they going to make any money?
Sure.
They can make you live 400 years to milk you.
Yeah.
It's just a hamster wheel.
Yeah.
It doesn't go anywhere.
Just goes round and round and round, yeah.
What does it remind you of? Unending multiplying of cells in the same spot for no reason. It's called cancer. What they're fighting
Yeah.
is their existence system. The system that they exist in is cancer itself. It just multiplies in a healthy area
Yes.
until there's nothing left. What is the reason? Why? Survival. Survival of what?
Yeah, totally agree.
An organism or a degenerated cell that just eats up all the resources in the body. Just like cancer feeds on sugar in the body. Refined sugar, milk, cow milk, and pasteurized cow milk.
That's the thing that Otto, a guy, was talking about as well, wasn't he? He was saying, really we should be just eating carbohydrates, forget sugar, because that can kind of slow down any problems you may have internally.
It sounds like money to me. What are carbohydrates? That everything that tastes good is a carbohydrate. Vegetables are not that high in carbohydrates. They are carbohydrates, but not carbs as in the unhealthy ones. Mm-hmm. Sugar tastes good. Money tastes good. It just feeds the cancer. Money feeds the cancer. Sugar feeds the cancer.
Okay, life. And we spoke about this slightly earlier. We touched on this. Is it all an illusion? Is there a beginning and is there an end to all this, to this illusion?
Why do we have cancer?
Because of, I would have said because of our lifestyle. But cancer has been around for a long time.
The modern times increased cancer a lot more. And when you ask anyone in the pharmaceutical or medical industries, they would say lifespan of humans have been prolonged drastically.
And they have. I mean, they have. People are living
compared
a lot longer
to when?
Now, compared to maybe 80, 100 years ago.
800 or
80 to 100 years ago, yeah.
But 80 to 100 years ago was the time when industrial revolution began. But proliferated, and the industrial
when we
revolution
started pumping crap into the air and everything else. Yeah.
This modern time brings about a lot of technological advancement, and that technology brings pollution. Environment is deteriorated, and humans with it too. If you compare your lifetime, your lifespan with those years, the Middle Ages, of course, it's better now. But what caused the Middle Ages?
That is quite interesting. We talk about you saying it's better now than it was then, but then the air was cleaner. It was I don't know if you could say a better standard of life. But then again, if you look at people from 100 years plus, they tended to age a lot quicker.
Of course.
And they tended to look pretty in bad shape as well. Today we seem to live longer and we have a better understanding of health than we did then.
Doctors used to prescribe cigarette to help with ease, pain, or...
stress was the big one. If you're stressed out, have cigarettes really calm you down. Really. A cup of coffee and a cigarette.
Exactly. Everything that changes is just understanding, nothing else.
Yeah. Ego is part of the illusion?
Most of it. The whole illusion is that we are living for here, for now, right now.
Yeah.
We are not living for now. We are living for tomorrow. Or we are living to make the past be passed on.
Yeah.
Let the past be alive, to pass the torch, in a sense.
Right.
And we don't care about now. If we don't care about now, which means your whole lifetime is now.
But again, that comes down to the conditioning, doesn't it? We're told, look after the future, you have to plan for the future, you have to make sure the future is sorted out for yourself. We're told this at a young age. We do tend to forget about the now.
You're always living in a planning mode. Life starts after school. Life starts after school when you start working. Life starts only when you get the raise or the promotion, when you get married, when you have children, when you have that house, when you have this house, that car. You change it. Whatever you do, you always look ahead and plan for something. Your life starts when you retire. Nothing starts, nothing ends. You just live your life.
You then relax, take it easy, and just take it moment by moment, surely.
Because it's the end of your life.
I don't know. I'm not there yet. But I'm sure
it's the end of your life, and you have to cherish what you worked for.
What you've got and what you have left. Yeah.
Those 10 years, 20 years. If we lived 10 or 20 years in happiness, in youth, wouldn't it be better?
Well, yeah, when we were more able to enjoy that.
If we were provided for, if we were to make money, enough money to support us, doing something we loved.
Sure, it would be better.
Wouldn't it be better?
In our youthful times, yeah.
So people go to jobs they hate for a life they don't even choose themselves.
No, for the
it
future,
was
because
pushed
they're
down
planning
their
for the
throat,
future,
and they just end up miserable. That is the ultimate illusion. That once you do what you're told, you're going to be happy.
So
happiness
how do we get out of
is
this?
the illusion.
How do we get out of this illusion? By
not obliging.
Yeah.
Resistance to what is creates friction, and that friction is energy. That energy can be used for everything else. Effortless is the key word.
Do you know, there's a word, there's a saying, which I've heard for many, many, many years, is, the world's your oyster.
Whose?
That, well, in just general saying, the world is your oyster, is it? I mean, if you take all that energy and if you decide not comply with the rules, is that when the world becomes your oyster?
The world is not your oyster. You are the oyster, in my understanding.
Right.
You take in a grain of sand and turn it into a pearl. You do it yourself by working on it internally. What has been given to you is what you take. You can spit it out.
Yeah.
You can wait for the perfect piece of sand grain for all your life and die in search, or you can get what you have and work on it and build the perfect pearl.
Take it to the limit. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, as far as you can. Yeah.
You are the oyster. The world is not your oyster.
Okay, so all those years, people have been saying to me, the world's your oyster.
You have to
Wrong
open
advice. That.
everything. The whole illusion is that everything exists apart from you, outside. When you see a face value, when you see a surface, when you see a facade, that is the illusion. Because what puts that facade there is your understanding, is your seeing it, is your perception.
And of course, we all do have different perceptions. We all don't see things in the same light, do we?
Exactly. That's why thinking that everyone else is seeing the same thing or everyone else
Is reading the same picture as you, is wrong.
everyone else is having a better time. That is the illusion. Because it all depends on what you see and what you interpret it as what it is to be. Anyone will come and say, okay, so you think that this world is what we make of it. Yes, it is. So how about all those people in India? How about them? They're living all this poverty and whatnot. Are they living in your world? No, they're there. Why are you looking at them instead of looking at something else? Because you see that poverty and you are struck by it yourself. When you look outside and you see the traffic, the whole chaos of things, why don't you take note of the trees among those cars on the side of the road? There aren't any. Okay. Do you see any smile on people's faces? How can there be? It's the traffic. Have you looked everyone's faces?
No, you don't, do you?
You see what you want to see. That's why what exists is what you choose to see. It's forced upon us. The world is forced upon us. So there is no choice for me but to see what's wrong with it.
Yeah, I suppose
This is another defense mechanism that comes up a lot.
I suppose we're kind of conditioned to the fact that we're told what we're supposed to see.
Exactly. We're taught and we're told.
Yeah.
We learn to comply. Once you start learning to see for yourself, to choose life, then you realize that all the time you've been fighting against something, you could have just rejected that thing and walked your own way.
And that's when you become separate from the illusion.
Exactly.
Okay. Alkun.
If you fight to be in a system, if you fight for your existence in a system for the way you want it to be, it's just in vain because the system is not created by you. You're just trying to comply with
It's created for you. Yeah.
the rules that exist.
Yeah.
This hasn't been that prolific. This has been slow, and I didn't like it that much, to say the least.
Right. On that note, it'll be more prolific, I'm sure, next time.
Hopefully.
Thank you.